All right. Okay, so let's come to a comfortable seat. Remember, you need a ball. Um, let's come to a comfortable seat and sit up straight and tall and take a moment to pay attention and notice how you are. Is your posture comfy today? Did you sleep well? Like, what's your energy like? Do the initial taking stock. And it's so important for us to pause during our day and take some time to come into presence with ourselves. How else are we ever going to know what's really happening on the inside if we don't quiet ourselves down for a moment or two and pay attention? So, see what it feels like to have a drop in your energy body, your not just your energy, but your body. Drop your awareness down into your pelvis and get that feeling of ground. Okay, so whatever you're sitting on, get to know it, maybe rock around a little bit or move from sit bone to sit bone and just know that you're planted. Okay. From that grounded place, cultivate some space. And if your eyes are closing, let them rest. Really soften your eyes behind their lids. So much strain, eye strain we all have by our screens. Just take a moment to just bathe your eyes in the restfulness of closed lids. Feel your skull melt a bit and start to pay attention to your breathing. And if you're able, just take a moment to feel that elongation of the breath. It can be very subtle. You don't have to push or pull or prod a lot. Just make way and be patient. Slow down with a sense of patience for your breath. As you start to kind of hopefully your nervous system, your energy has dropped down a little bit. You have a little more capacity just in a couple of minutes of being in this position to notice more. So what really is happening in your mind and your body? A sense of lift and spaciousness, like a floating of the heart. Whatever is kind of going on in your mind, your body, your spirit, let's bring our hands together and see if we can offer ourselves some kindness and some grace. For an intention here, what is it that you'd like to, kind of cultivate or release or hold on to? What is it that you need for your practice today? Let's release the hands and let's remember as best as we can to maintain our breathing as we go. So sometimes it's very easy when either your mind goes somewhere or you're focusing deeply that we can forget our breath. So let's remember our breath as we practice. So stretch out and lengthen your body as we always do. And enjoy that horizontal stance. Okay, so here you are on the ground with lots of support underneath you. Let's reach our arms overhead and just enjoy stretching each side of our body into some length, opening up through our breath and through our ribs and through our shoulders and our hips. And then Draw your knees into your chest. And let's rock a little bit, swaying from side to side. Hang on to your knees and let's circle. Kind of rolling your knees in one direction. Rolling your knees in the other direction. And taking stock, letting your hips relax. Let's open up the knees away from the middle and bring them back in and just enjoy the range of motion that we can find here. All right, and then right knee into your chest, left leg long on the ground, and let's go ahead and roll around in our ankles and wiggle through our toes and breathe our way into what we're feeling. So notice your physical sensations. Always remember that physical sensations are a way to tether ourselves into present moment awareness. What a gift to have that. And then keep the right knee into the chest, and we're going to stretch into a twist. Open up and feel free to not, hold the knee well so that you're not going too deep. Big breath into the side of your body. Feel free to turn your head if that feels good, and just enjoy a twist. Right, coming back to center. Put your left foot on the ground. Let's grab onto the right foot and just drop your knee down next to your ribs, a half happy baby pose. And then lift that leg straight up in the air. Grab a strap, wrap the strap around your right foot, and lift that foot straight up in the air. You can have your left foot on the ground or your left leg straight, whichever feels good for you. Flex and point your toe as you hook that strap around your arch or the front of your heel. So just waking up the fullness of your Achilles, your calf, your shin, your toes, everything kind of finding some movement. All right, and then be still in your foot and rest your spine, rest your head, root your femur bone down toward the ground, melt toward the earth. And then we're going to open up your right leg out to the right, stretching through your inner groin here, that right leg, feeling a grounding through the left side of your body, and enjoy the openness of that hip. Let your head get heavy here again. Notice the ways in which you want to help yourself. Our head, neck, and shoulders often tend to want to grip, even just slightly, to be in charge of movements. So let's keep them at neutral. And then lift that leg straight back up, and a bigger twist than what we just did a moment ago. Let's strap in the left hand, and we'll cross the right leg over to the left, and only go so far, so you don't have to stress your spine out in this posture. Keep moving your femur bone away, so there's a lot of integrity of lengthening your spine and creating a little space in that right hip joint. And then bring that leg straight back up again. Let's put 2 feet into the strap. Notice the difference between your two sides when we haven't done all of those postures yet on the left side. Let this pose be really about your spine getting a little longer. And then when you're ready, you can take the strap off and hug your left knee into your chest, right leg long on the ground. Let's move around in our ankles, rolling through, breathing. Let your head get at ease. Soften the shoulders down. Do some wiggles of your feet. And then cross that left knee over to the right, a twist here. Open up through your spine. A big breath, both in and out. Try to fill your breath deeply. Empty it all the way. Okay, coming back up to the center, grab onto your left foot, put your right foot onto the ground, and drop your left knee toward the ground next to your left ribs, a half happy baby pose on this side. And then we'll wrap the strap around your left foot, lift that leg straight up in the air. Your right leg can go straight or stay bent. And have a moment to flex and point your left foot. So we're opening up the calf, the Achilles, we're opening up the top of the foot,
just getting a lot of that soft tissue, our fascia, our ligaments, our tendons, everything to just kind of warm its way into some openness. And then have a neutral foot and focus more on your femur bone, dropping down, feel the length of your spine. And when you drop your femur bone into the ground, notice if your back gets at all a little bit of a release. If there's any ease that comes into your pelvis or low back when you nestle the femur bone well. Let's take the strap into the left hand, open up your leg out to the left. You can stay grounded with the right side of your body, feeling that inner thigh stretch open. A big breath in, a big breath out. Just enjoy that inner hamstring, inner groin stretch. And then we'll lift that leg straight back up, cross the left leg over to the right, holding the strap in the right hand. Move your left hip away from your shoulder. Again, let your shoulders and head stay relaxed and at ease. All right, inhale, lift that leg straight back up again. Let's put our 2 feet into the strap. Grab onto the strap with both hands now, and let's flex and point both feet at the same time. And of course, we'll get a little zing in our calves, but also point really well. So the tops of your feet get a good stretch. You can, stretch your toes. You can have a little point in there, a point, flex, whatever feels really good. And then release your feet, let them relax. Draw your femur bones down and open up through the spine. Let's keep our legs where they are. Take the strap off and bring your arms overhead if you can. If that's a little much for your spine, down at your sides is a great option as well. Feel the extension through your torso and knit your ribs down toward the ground. Start to stabilize through your core. And then we're going to slowly lower our legs down toward the ground. If you need to bend your knees at any point, bend your knees. You can bring your knees to your chest or just put your feet down on the ground. Eventually, we'll find that full length in our body here again. And then draw your knees into your chest. A little hug. Inhale to spread your limbs out to a star. Exhale to draw your knees in. One more time, feeling that full body stretch open. Exhale, feeling the hugging in toward your spine. And then relax that, roll to your side, and we'll come up to your hands and your knees. As you find your way to all fours, okay, let's enjoy finding some cat-cows. So as you arch and round the spine, such a beautiful position for your spine to just enjoy some of that movement. And spread your shoulder blades apart and then arch your back and hug your shoulder blades toward each other and just see what it feels like to open up your vertebrae. Make sure you're moving with your breath. Something so simple can feel so nice. And then feel free to move your spine around, wag your tail, do some circling through your pelvis or your ribs, your shoulders, your head, whatever feels like it needs to move. And then we'll settle back toward a child's pose and drop down toward your heels with your pelvis. Walk the hands far out in front of you and rest for a moment in a child's pose. Enjoy this position. A lot of times we come here as a transition or a bit of a rest. So let's just feel this pose in and of itself. The deep compression in your knees and hips, the length in your spine and shoulders, the way your breath feels. And then let's walk the hands over to one side or the other so that we find that openness through our shoulder and our side body, opening up your lats, opening up your intercostal muscles, and breathe. The breath is the movement of the pose. And then come back to center, walk the hands over to the other side and feel some dropping of your sit bones. Open up through your side body. Come back to center. Let's come back up to your hands and your knees. Swag our tail, move around in your vertebrae again. Release that posture, and let's find a deeper twist. Arm up in the air, open through your chest, and then exhale and drop that shoulder down. Gaze toward the floor and breathe. Enjoy what this offers to your breath, to your spine. Melt your neck. Feel free to turn it into a little bit deeper of a shoulder stretch by facing the ground a little bit more with your chest. Inhale, bring that arm back up in the air. Hand comes down onto the ground. Let's switch our sides. Arm up, slide that arm under, and twist here. Big breaths. Once you feel like you're complete in that stretch, let's go ahead and reach that arm back up into the air, hand down and find a dog pose. Now we've already opened our legs some, but let's feel the fullness now of having our whole body engage in the posture. So the hands and the feet are grounding. We're feeling that length and space. Feel free to move around however you like. You can pedal your feet or move your hips around or your head or anything that helps you feel good. And then find an inner spiral of your thighs while you're here. Feel that widening of your pelvis, your sit bones. Feel a deep rooting of your hands as you extend in your body. And then when you're ready, walk your feet forward. Come to Uttanasana and have a fairly deep forward fold. Your hamstrings have already had a little time to open, so notice if your forward fold is coming a little easier. Let your head bobble, let your hips shake, let anything happen that wants to. A halfway lift, femur bones up and back. Spread open the bones of your feet. Reach your heart forward. Keep breathing. And when your next exhale, rise. Just let your body fold and melt. Knees soften, head is long, neck is free. Push off your feet, rising up, reaching the arms to the sky. Open up, maybe lean back a little bit. Let's cactus open our arms and feel again that back of your body. Reaching the arms up to the sky. Exhale, swan dive forward. Relax your spine. A halfway lift, open things up. Exhale, melting back down. Step back to a dog pose. Long spine here. Find your breath again. Root to rise. Try to enjoy. What do you enjoy about each posture? See if you can find the little touch of magic that is in each posture. Come forward into a plank. Stabilize your center. Start to feel your core wake up. Drop weight into your hands well. Breathing deeply. We'll put our knees down if you need. Find the ground. Do a couple of shoulder rolls. Loosen things up one more time before you inhale and reach to a cobra pose. On your exhale, melting back down. Let's try one more time. Just be so thankful for all the ways we can move our spine, keeping supple through our days. One more time. Rising up. Exhale. Melting back down. Come up onto your hands and your knees. Wag your tail around, move your spine, maybe a cat-cow, maybe a little movement in a lateral bending, whatever feels good. Back to a child's pose. Walk the hands far out in front of you again. Find your breath. Let's take our blocks underneath our elbows. Stay in your child's pose. Elbows on the blocks, palms together, drop back. Let's stretch open our triceps. Feel that stretch all the way through your armpits. Reach your hips away from your elbows. Breathe into the thoracic spine. Hands come back down onto the ground. Move the blocks out of the way, puppy pose. Hips high, chest down. Full breaths. Come back up onto all fours. Wiggle around in your spine, wagging your tail. Curl the toes under, lift to a dog pose again. Feel the ground. Find your breath. When you're ready, bring your right foot in front. Come to a lunge on this side. Okay. Find your breath. Pause here for a moment so you get your legs organized, get your breath organized, and then we'll start to move. Bending and straightening, and feel free to experiment. Sometimes when you straighten your leg, try pressing your big toe mound down. Sometimes when you straighten your leg, try lifting your toes up and just see what happens in your body. Going back and forth between a lunge and an extension. Ground your legs. Inhale, climb up, crescent lunge. Feel that extension in your ribs. Reach up off your pelvis, knit your ribs in. Try not to overarch your back. Bend your back knee a little bit, dip it down toward the ground so you have even a little bit more stability in your pelvis. Of course, you can take your arms anywhere you want them. They don't have to be overhead. And exhale, hands down, back foot comes forward, a deep forward fold. Inhale for a halfway lift. Exhale, melt. Put your toes together. Let's come to a chair pose. Reach your arms up. Maybe your arms want to go somewhere else. Draw your knees back. Start to invite your glutes to turn on. Press your heels down into the ground. Find your ribs and knit them in just a little bit. Try not to flare. Come up onto your toes. Have a moment of balance. Relax your neck. Exhale, release your hands down to the blocks. Step your left foot in front, right foot comes back. Heart is open, finding the lunge on this side. Okay. Let's begin to bend and straighten. Once you get settled, bend and straighten the knee. And again, see what it feels like to find that stability of grounding your big toe. And then maybe the next pass of straightening your leg, lift your toes, squaring the hips the whole way through, finding breath. Ground yourself, settle your legs, inhale, rising up. Bringing the arms up or out or down, whichever feels well for your body. Remember your floating ribs, try not to push them out, draw them in. Maybe bend the back knee a little bit so you get that center of gravity low and where your pelvis feels like it's not tipping forward, but you have a nice steady base. Root into your front foot and turn on your glutes and your hamstring. Finding breath. Relax the base of the skull. Then release your hands down. Lift that left leg straight back behind you, three-legged dog. And put your foot down onto the ground. Come forward into a plank. Push the ground away. Find your breath. Knees down to the ground. One more time, lying on the floor. Put your hands underneath your forehead. Take your feet to the edges of your mat and lift your legs. Stabilize your core as you do this. And then exhale and release.
Come back up onto your hands and your knees and walk around in your spine a little bit. And here's, we're gonna do a little core work. So we're gonna find this ball in a moment. So make sure it's handy. Make sure you have a block as well. All right, first just come down and rest on the ground. Finding your breath. I'm just going to do a little bit of stabilization of your core muscles. All right, so bend your knees, put your feet on the ground, and put your hands on your thighs. And if you can't reach, walk your feet in a little bit so that your thighs are close enough for your hands to reach. And press your hands into your thighs and your thighs into your hands. So just a little subtle awakening of your hip flexors. Try to keep your neck and shoulders from being over tense. And then relax and melt that. Now push your feet as if you're trying to straighten your legs, but we're going to keep our feet glued to the ground. Push your feet away from you. And at the same time, press your thighs away. Just start to invite some awareness in your abdomen, your glutes, your hamstrings, your thighs, everything's kind of just aware. And then relax. Take your block. And we're going to do this just in the middle height. We've done this before with all three widths, but in the interest of time, we're going to only do this width, the middle width of the block. In between, you can put it between your knees or a little lower than your knees, wherever whatever's comfortable for you. So have your feet, they're probably close to hip width apart-ish. And we're just going to rest here for a moment. And remember that our inner thighs are kind of an extension of our pelvic floor. So as we hug the block gently, stay grounded through all four corners of your feet. We might want to kind of lean into the inner feet to keep the outer feet as active as the inner feet. A nice gentle hug, and then a release. And we'll just do some pulses here of hugging the block, noticing our feet, noticing our pelvic floor, noticing the lower abdominal muscles, that transverse abdominis, and then relax. You can even take your finger pads, find your hip bones, the front of your pelvis, those bony parts, and then slide your hands toward your finger pads toward one another on your low belly. And just kind of place those finger pads there. And then as you engage the block again with your legs, see if you can turn on what's underneath your finger pads and make sure that that's a part of the equation, not just the inner thighs. And then relax. And just do a few rounds of turning on the transverse abdominis, your inner thighs, your pelvic floor, and making sure you're releasing as much as you are strengthening. I can feel this wrapping all the way into my low back. I don't know if you can too, but remember that transverse abdominis travels around your whole torso. I forgot to mention the breath, but try to exhale as you engage and inhale as you release. One more time. All right, and then relax. Straighten your legs for just a moment. Stretch your arms overhead and find a nice stretch in your body. And then we'll put our feet back down onto the ground. Now add a little bit higher action of your transverse abdominis. So as we exhale, navel drop. We're not using a block anymore. You can keep the block there if you want to, but try to focus a little higher up. So navel is going to drop toward our spine, and we're going to hug our lower ribs in toward the midline. So kind of gathering the sides of our body, our side waist, and draw it in toward the center, and then inhaling to let go. And you might notice that the letting go might be harder than the engaging. So just pay attention to the subtlety. You can put your hands anywhere you want, or they can be down at your sides. If feedback from your hands is helpful, then you can put your hands where you want your body to engage, but you can also just rest your arms.
As you exhale, navel to spine, ribs in. And let's grab the block again, put it in between our knees or a little higher, wherever is comfortable. And let's try to put all of those things together. So we're going to have some recruitment of our inner thighs, our pelvic floor, our transverse abdominis, all kind of gathering together. So see if you can sense all of those parts, drawing in on the exhale and then releasing on the inhale. And you might notice that your pelvis is moving a little bit from an anterior to a posterior tilt, just the smallest bit. You might notice that you have better control in one area versus another area, or even one leg might have more control than the other leg. So notice navel to spine, notice ribs in, notice pelvic floor, notice deep low belly, notice inner thighs. Notice breath. All right, and then relax to a star. Stretch your limbs really wide. Then exhale and round your spine. Bring your knees in, a little bit of rocking. And then maybe even put your feet on the ground and windshield wiper your knees and just kind of check in and release your spine, your back a little bit. Now we're going to challenge this a little bit more with a squishy ball underneath our pelvis. So you want this under your sacrum. And if this proves to be too much, or if you don't have a ball, no problem. You can just do this with your pelvis on the ground, okay? So we're going to lift our knees up in the air. No block this time, okay? And then, you might need to find, like, I know that I did that and I have to move the ball up a little bit. So now we're a little unsteady, and the more inflated the ball, the less steady, okay? So just sense what's here. Can you still find those knitting of the ribs, the navel to the spine, the deep low belly? Now we're gonna slowly tap. One heel comes down and back up. And again, if this is too hard, you can do this with your pelvis on the ground. Also, another variation is you can start with your feet on the ground and lift one knee up and then drop that heel back down and lift the other knee up. So lots of variations depending on your stability. So you're wobbling a little bit, and that's good. Make sure you're still breathing. Relax your neck. Again, our neck and shoulders and head want to be a part of the party. See if you can keep them fairly neutral. Notice your breathing. All right, and then when you feel ready, you can bring your knees to your chest. All right, now a slightly different action. We're going to put our elbows on the ground and have your finger pads to your outer thighs, wherever they reach, okay? And we're going to keep that action of a little bit of contact with our outer thighs and our finger pads. We're not, we want our hands directly over our elbows, or I should say in line with the elbows. They don't have to be over the elbows, but try not to let your arms fall out. So we're not going too wide, is my point with our knees. Now notice your stability, touch your toes. Find your breath. And we're going to do some circles, keeping the position of our thighs and our finger pads. Circle your feet. Stabilize through the ball. We've done this without the ball before. Notice the hip joints moving. So we're just doing circles with our feet. And now circle the other direction. Try to keep nice and stable on the ball. So feeling a little bit of rotation in the hip joint, stabilizing the core. All right, knees into your chest. Relax that here for a moment. Just let the ball be a little bit of traction now for your lumbar spine. And then we'll put our feet down onto the ground. Get the ball out of there and rest your pelvis down and feel how solid the ground is. Let your body melt here for a moment. Relaxing toward the ground. We're going to do one more thing here. Interlace your fingers behind your head. We're going to bring our knees up, and this time we're going to have straight legs to do this. I'm going to turn so I don't hit the furniture. All right, so make sure you don't have any props in your way. Legs are straight up in the air. Remember that first pose we did with the strap. Draw your navel down. Feel your ribs knit toward the ground. Breathing deeply, stabilizing your back. And then we're going to drop our right leg. Lift your right chest toward your left knee. Inhale, come back up, feet together again. Switch sides. So this is a slow movement. We're moving with our breath. Getting your obliques to share in the duty of what we've just done already. So there's a lot of lower belly, psoas, transverse abdominis work, integrating now with the obliques. Navel to spine, ribs knit down. All right, and then when you're ready, knees to your chest and relax. Put your feet on the ground. I promise we're going to get up in a moment, but first grab your block. Low height of the block underneath your pelvis. Adjust so that you're in a happy place. Now this might be enough, but perhaps straighten your right leg, heel down on the ground. Check in with that. And if that feels good for your back, two other options you can do. You can stretch your arms overhead to get a little more length through that psoas. Make sure you're internally rotating your right thigh, okay? And then if you have a little more to give, you can bring your left knee up and interlace behind your left thigh or the front of your shin, and just allow that hip flexor of the right side to stretch open. Stretch your heel, lengthen your leg, reach your femur bone out of its socket a little bit, internally rotate that thigh slightly. Sometimes I hold my left leg and stretch my right arm overhead. So just kind of experiment. And draw the two knees in, and we'll switch sides. Left leg, heel on the ground. You can decide, maybe you want your right foot on the ground. Maybe you want your right knee up. Okay. Maybe you want your foot on the ground and your arms overhead. So just kind of experiment with how deep into this posture your body can go. Internally rotate your left thigh and stretch your heel away. Maybe your left arm stretches overhead and you only hold with your right hand. Breathe deeply. And then the final bit is we'll stretch both legs straight. Wide if you want, narrow if you want. Internally rotate your legs, stretch your arms overhead. Big breath into your belly. Okay, and then knees toward your chest. A little traction for your spine. All right, good job. That was a lot of core work. Put your feet on the ground. Let's windshield wiper our knees. And as you drop your knees over to the right, move your head to the left. And as you drop your knees to the left, move your head to the right. Notice your breath. And then we'll roll over onto our side. Take your feet over to the left side of your mat, and we're gonna just twist, a deep twist right. Left hand onto the right knee and just open up. Stretching through those obliques, feeling the side of your body open as you twist. And then coming back, and let's go to the other side. Feet over to the right, right hand on left knee, twisting to the left. Enjoy your breath. All right, and then coming back to center. Come up to your hands and your knees and find a dog pose. And enjoy all this space that you have. Now we're going to come forward into a plank and notice the integrity that you have in your core. Drop your shoulder blades down, index finger mounts, root well, find your breath. We're going to walk our left foot out to the left and tap it back to center. Right foot out to the right and tap it back to center. So you can do this on your knees if you need to, or you can stay on your feet. Plank pose. So try not to lift the hips as we go out and in. Just keep alternating left and right. Stabilize through your core. Shoulder blades down. Root the index finger mounds. Keep breathing. Okay. And then relax. And let's melt in child's pose. Walk the hands far out in front of you. Stretch open through your spine. Take a deep breath. All right, let's go ahead and lengthen through your body into a dog pose. And then we'll walk our feet forward, coming to Uttanasana. Grab some blocks, a halfway lift, melt to fold. Push off your feet, rising up, bring the arms to the sky. And then just pause here in Tadasana. Notice your center body, how stable you might feel after doing all the core work. And we're just going to slowly put our weight into our right foot and lift our left knee up. Find your breath, reach your arms to the sky, feeling that length. See what it feels like to not push your pelvis forward, but draw that thigh bone back. And then we're very slowly going to reach our arms down at our sides and kick back into Virabhadrasana 3. Knit your ribs in. Use your core, your pelvic floor to help you in this posture. Palms facing the ground. Engage your triceps. The shoulders lift just a little bit. Reach your crown and tail long. Finding breath, square pelvis. Use your core to help you. And then we'll slowly come back up, bringing that knee up in the air, reaching the arms to the sky. And now we're going to twist to the left. Drop your shoulders, inner spiral that standing leg. Lift your crown, thigh bone back. And then we'll release and put our 2 feet on the ground. And just pause in Tadasana. It's a lot to have balanced postures, so let's just take a moment to just make sure that no part of us took extra burden. Return to the depth of a full breath. A lot of times when we balance, we can hold our breath and not even realize we're doing it. So give way to the breath. And then we're going to start the same process on our left leg. Rooting your femur bone down, feeling that foot ground itself. Find a spot to look at, and let's lift the right knee up. Now notice if you tip to a side or push your pelvis forward or back, try to stabilize. Use your core, unlock your standing knee. Reach your arms overhead and knit your ribs in. Try to find that long line from hand to foot on the ground. Our knee is unlocked, but our thigh bone is moving back. And then slowly, we're going to reach our arms down by our sides, tip forward, the leg moves behind us, Virabhadrasana 3. Stabilize through your core.
Lift your shoulders and reach your hands back. Palms are facing the ground, triceps are engaged. Knit your ribs in, square the pelvis, press into the ground and reach through your spine. The core and the pelvic floor are very helpful here. Find your breath. Notice your neck and shoulders. Try to be as relaxed as you can in this pose. And then slowly, slowly bring that knee back up. Find a drishti, a gaze spot to look at. Bring your arms up in the air, knee is up. Left thigh bone's back, knee is unlocked, hip is in. Big breath. And we'll twist to the right. Use your core to do the work. Inhale, bring your arms back up. And then slowly put your foot down onto the ground. And just notice if your balance was a teeny bit better than, kind of threw it at you in left field to do some balance poses. So notice if your balance was a little more stable because of all the waking of our center body. Big breath in, reaching the arms up. Tip back a little if it feels good. And then exhale to sink forward and relax your spine. Inhale for a halfway lift. Melt to fold one more time. Let's just do one standing pose with our legs wide. So take to the side of your mat, widen your stance. Okay. We're going to turn our feet out and maybe just have a couple of passes of squatting down and coming up. So you just kind of invite your legs into this movement pattern. And then as we come down to squat, don't worry about how far you go. So be a little higher if you need to, and reach your arms straight up. Knit your ribs in and integrate. Drop weight into your feet. Breathing deeply, so we're not tipping forward. Finding our breath. And then when you're ready, put a pair of high heels on and just feel the engagement of your pelvic floor. You can bring your arms a little wider if that helps your balance, so our heels are off the ground. Open up your knees and open up your heart. Finding breath. All right, and then feet back down, standing star. Turn your feet forward and come down in Pasrita. A nice wide-legged stance. Put your arms down wherever they want to be. We're going to bend into our right knee and stretch open that inner thigh a little bit on the left leg. Over to the other side. Back to neutral and then turn to the front of your mat for your last dog pose. Extending here through your body. Lift your sit bones, let your hamstrings open. Maybe take your feet a little wider, turn your feet in, toes in, and let your inner thighs roll back, widen your pelvic floor. Deep belly breath. Come down onto your knees. Skip the plank. Come all the way to your belly. Legs wide. Inhale, cobra pose. Melting to come back. A nice wide-legged child's pose. Nice and wide knees. Take them as wide as you want. Breathe through your spine. Then we'll come onto our back. All right, put your feet on the ground. Cross your right thigh over your left thigh and draw your knees into your chest.
Stretch your hip a little bit. Again, melt your head and neck and shoulders. There's no work for them to do here. Now we're going to turn this into a twist. So as we come down, put your left foot on the floor, scoot your hips ever so slightly to the left, and drop your knees over to the right. Now you can put a block underneath your knee. Breathe in and breathe out. Little internal rotation stretch in that thigh as you twist open. And then the knees come back up neutral through your pelvis. And we'll switch sides. Okay, so left thigh over right thigh. Draw your knees in toward your chest. Allow your head to rest. Shoulders are relaxed. Find your breath. Feel ready. Right foot on the ground. Shift a bit to the right. Drop knees left. And you can put a block somewhere on that left side if you need it. And twist open through your spine. Come back to center. Maybe a happy baby, maybe knees to chest, maybe a little rocking, maybe nothing at all. And as you prepare for Shavasana, if you want support, take support. If you want warmth, grab a blanket. If you have bright lights, put something over your eyes or turn the lights out. Just see what it feels like to let your Shavasana be very nurturing. Okay, so the small little things matter. If you're touching something with one of your limbs, that can be distracting. So, let your body minimize distraction. And then once you're ready, be comfortable. Let your shoulders relax. Let your head melt. Let your legs soften. Deeply breathe in. Deeply breathe out. Deepen our breathing. Feel free to move in whatever way serves.
Eventually finding your way to your side. Ready. Go ahead and press yourself upright and find a comfortable way to be seated. Notice your breath. See if you can let your belly rise and fall, expand and contract. Let's bring our hands together and give our energy outward. Whatever merits your practice has given you, share your energy. Namaste. Thank you, everyone.